and from there we track the symptoms and connect it to what's going on in your life from a mind-body perspective. Because what we now know is that there is actually a very prescriptive and very specific link between your emotions, perceptions, and beliefs and the physical symptoms that you will show at various stages of your life. Now, I just want to start, before I get onto the eczema stuff, just to let you know that your body does not make mistakes or tell lies when it comes to the physical symptoms it is showing you. So we've been led to believe quite often that when we're in a stage of showing physical symptoms such as eczema, which is the raising of the skin and the itchy rash or the red hotness, that our body is in a state of illness or disease. But what we actually now know, understanding the process of a disease and how it starts in the mind frame, and then it goes into the physical symptoms, is that if you've got eczema, your body is actually going through a regeneration phase. In other words, the underlying stress or trauma that's caused the eczema has subsided, and your body then starts to show physical symptoms. However, this is where it gets really interesting. The reason the eczema doesn't truly heal, is because you're caught in a hanging healing because the underlying cause of the eczema has not been treated. Now, I'm not talking just dietary here. So if anyone's got eczema, the best thing you can do straight away is do an elimination diet and get off your dairy products, get off your wheat products, because they are known to cause flare-ups in eczema. However, they're not the sole cause if you understand the mind-body connection. So basically, here's how it works. Your brain, doesn't matter what you believe is real or what you perceive or what you imagine, whatever perceptions or beliefs you have, your body is responding to them accordingly. So think about that for a minute. Your body does not know the difference between what you made up, what you actually had happen to you, what you imagined, or what you perceived. It will still, through the process of your minds and emotions, send messages to your physical body that create responses in your physical body to those things that are happening in your emotions and mindset. And we know this through years of study of brain layers. And as we develop as an embryo in the fetus, in the womb, the various levels of our brain develop. So we've got 5 levels of the brain. And eczema, which is related to the last part of the brain to develop, which is the cerebral cortex, is related to issues to do with territory, social, connection, community, and territory issues or feelings of threats to our territory. So anything that's related to the cortex layer of the brain is issues around separation conflicts. So your epidermis, not your dermis is a whole nother ball game, but anything to do with the epidermis, which is the surface of the skin, is related to beliefs or traumas or perceptions around fear of loss or what we call a separation conflict. Now, think about who often gets eczema the most. Children. Now, for a little child who may go through a perceived sense of loss or disconnection from mum or dad, and then that connection is resolved, it's in the resolution phase that that child will go and show physical symptoms. Now, look at, as a common example, I'm going to talk about, look at where eczema shows up in a lot of people. The inside of the arms, the back of the knees, the inside of the thighs. Now, think about that. What do we use our bodies for? Because this is the other thing. The perception is, what does that part of the body mean for you? How you use your hands is completely different to how someone else who's in the creative fields uses their hands. Someone's feet may represent something totally different to someone else's. This is how intricate this is. It's the perceptions of it. So for a lot of little children, we hold on and we grip with the insides, our joints. And so let's say child has a perceived separation conflict with mum, where they perceive mum has gone away and isn't coming back. And in their little minds, they've made it mean, oh my God, I've lost my mum. And then all of a sudden mum comes back. Oh, my mum's back again. There goes the relief phase. And then we see the physical symptoms. But what happens if the physical symptoms are not going away? Well, it's because we haven't resolved the cause, or the child, and I'm just using a child as an example because it's so common in children, the child is getting re-triggered. So if a child's got this perception that every time mum goes away, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss my mum, then it will go into what we call a hanging healing. And that is basically the skin going through constant bouts and flare-ups. Now, the first thing we do when we get eczema is we reach for the cortisol cream most of the time. But I'm going to ask you this question. What happens when you stop using the cream? Do your symptoms completely disappear, or do they recur? Now, in many instances, the symptoms reappear. What is quite interesting though in children is the symptoms disappear because, and I've always thought this was the case, and I had it affirmed during my study, that reconnection of mum rubbing the cream into child, that reconnection is actually part of the healing process. And that allows the brain to go into, I'm safe again, my mother is here, I can heal, and the body will respond in kind to that belief. And that's a placebo effect. That is the belief that my mum is holding on to me and reconnecting with me and rubbing that cream in, that allows the body to go through a healing process. Now, I just want to share what happened to me with my recurring eczema that I had for 7 years. And it was, and I can't believe this, but I so thought I'd taken photos of my eczema, but I hadn't. So basically I had this eczema that was on my right foot that kept flaring up. And I noticed it disappeared. I went to